Hi there, and welcome to the Anxiety Society podcast, brought to you by Jordan Devlin and Scott Hope. This is a show where you can listen to people talk about their life experiences in relation to mental health. Visit Jordan's Anxiety Society on Facebook for updates on how you can get involved in future podcasts. But for now, sit back, relax, and enjoy. And we're off. So, this is now episode 13 of the Anxiety Society podcast. Today we're joined by Lisa Chandler and your boy, Scott Hope.
We just found that this is the unluckiest podcast that we've done.
It had to be me, I just knew it.
Recording on a Friday.
No.
Can't beat it. But I'm sure it'll be fine. In fact, no, it'll be fine. So, Lisa, what's been happening?
Nothing, just working, really. What about you? Same thing?
Exact same. Absolutely nothing.
What else can you do, eh?
Nothing. Well, to be fair, it's getting a wee bit better now. You're allowed to.
I know. I was actually thinking that. Like, I was sort of complaining about not being able to do anything, and then I thought, like, wait, what did I actually do before this all happened?
Yeah.
I think I've just got into the habit of fucking moaning that I can't do anything.
I have to do something every weekend now. I'm like, I'm not saying in. It's not happening.
We're going to need to change our chat because we always start with, what's been happening, and it's always COVID related.
I know, what's going on with COVID?
That is all that's been happening though. Like, there's literally been nothing else. Like, can't talk about Brexit or nothing.
It'll be good to look back on though when it's all over. I'd be like, oh, where were we? What were we doing?
If it's all over, we can't speak too soon now.
She's at it again, by the way. I think she's fucking
Nicola.
Jimmy Cranky's fucking at it again, man. We're going backwards. I tell you, we'll be locked down again by what month is it?
Oh, don't.
End of July, we'll be fucking in the house again.
Sorry, we've had a couple of months out. That'll happily get locked in.
No, as long as it's after my birthday, I'm not bothered. That's fine.
Right, so how have you been finding the whole work life through COVID and stuff?
It's been fine because I was getting fully paid the whole time, so it wasn't even furlough. It was great. And then I did some like makeup stuff online. Obviously, it wasn't quite like being in the salon, but it was something. So it was fine. I got a bit bored, but was it? It was good.
I think everybody did. It's fucking horrendous, man.
So right in the first couple of months, and then it's like, I'm so sick of this.
I know. I seen that you went live on Beauty Bay.
Yeah, that was good. Oh my god, that was nerve-wracking. Oh,
I can imagine.
Jeez.
What's that like?
have you heard of Beauty Bay, like the brand?
No.
Well, it's like a beauty retailer, so it's like a big website, and they have like their own brands and stuff, and they keep coming out with more makeup. So they've like asked a few people to do they send your products, and then you have to do like lives on their Instagram. Their Instagram's got like however many million followers. So
fucking hell,
big thing.
It was a bit scary.
Jesus Christ.
That's where I get my ordinary skincare for.
Do you?
Aye.
Is that like a moisturiser?
It's not. I don't know. It's like this clear liquid.
Like coconut oil.
Stuff.
I don't know.
It'll be a serum, probably.
It's like niacinamide or something. Fuck knows, honestly. I'm just going to end up talking shit.
I just use coconut oil, man. That stuff's magic. I like the stuff you cook with. I'm no joke. See if you fucking lather your face in this stuff. It's fucking dynamite, man. It's so good.
No, it's not. It's not.
Honestly, try it the next time you're cooking.
What, rub it out of your face?
I'm telling you.
Would you put butter out of your face?
It's not the same, is it? It's 100%.
Don't bother. Just don't bother.
I'm telling you, mate. It's life changing.
You'll be better with Vaseline.
Exactly. You just slide out of bed.
So obviously we've been locked down for somebody actually showed me the data. It was like over 450 days or something, which is mental when you think it.
I know. I just want the clubs open.
Same. That's what I've really missed, man. Out of the dancing.
I'll happy go to Lorenzo's.
Oh no. I know about that. Like,
I know, because the last time I did go in there, I was like, this will be the last time, I think.
Yeah, and it was.
It was.
And then you're like, feel feels right, just want it back.
Yeah.
I definitely didn't. Actually, I don't think I would go back.
Oh no.
Especially, I'd maybe go back downstairs, but upstairs is fucking, I think it's a goner.
Yeah. Yeah, fair. They'll maybe change it up.
I think
They've had enough time anyway.
Yeah.
Aye, so what would you say is different about your life pre-COVID to sort of now?
I don't really know, to be honest. So I'd only been at my work like a few months. I started in October, and then it was the March, obviously, that went into lockdown. So I've been getting like paid more not doing anything than I have doing stuff. So I don't know, it's a wee bit different. I'm quite quiet in makeup now, because obviously you're not allowed to full face makeup. So that's different. I feel like I look different. I don't know. Everything's different. I don't know. I'll never stay in ever again.
Getting paid more no doing it, and you can't complain about that though, eh?
I know. Oh, it was great. It was the first few months, and then everything opened back up, and I wasn't at work yet, so I was like going to the pub every weekend and like didn't have anything to do during the week, so that was great. And then I had to start back work again, so can't complain.
When did you start back?
I had like 7 weeks before Christmas, so it was like after the October holidays, then it was a 7-week block, and then I was off again, and then I started back again just at the end of the Easter holidays, so it was like 4 weeks ago now. So it's alright. This is a 12-week block though, so it's a long one. Alright, get holidays though.
Need to get crafting, eh?
I know. I've only got 8 weeks left.
Quite right. But nah, at least it's good to be back, and obviously you're getting out and about.
Aye, it's better having something.
Might not be making as much money, but it's a lot better than sitting about vegetating.
No, it's alright. I know. Plus, you get the grants as well. I've got government grants. That's been good too.
Lucky you.
I know, it's been going well for me.
Was that with being self-employed, like?
Yeah, so just self-employed grants, but it's quite decent.
Can't complain.
I know, exactly.
So do you think? So what sort of business is it that you've got set up then?
I've got a makeup business, so
right.
I do like makeup and some beauty as well. So I do like lash lifts and brows and that kind of stuff.
And when does that? Are you back doing that just now, or?
Yeah, so I'm only able to do like eye makeup, brows and lashes, because you're not able to take like their mask off, so you can't do full face makeup, which is a bit crap. But
surely
unless
not.
You just want their eyes done, surely.
But you can still get a beard trim.
Can you?
Exactly.
Aye. That makes no sense.
I'm calling it here.
Is that right?
Aye.
That's mental.
Because I went in last time and the barber was like, "Are you wanting that trim because it looks a fucking mess?" I didn't. I was only joking. But
so you can get lip fillers and that, but you can't get a full face of makeup.
To be fair, I don't actually know if you're allowed to get lip filler. I don't know if people are just doing it anyway, but I'm not doing it. There's no way I'm going to risk it. Like I do makeup like right in front of the window in the salon. Like imagine someone walked past.
Pure COVID officer.
I know. Oh God.
Can't be doing with that, like.
I know, it's not worth it.
But aye, quite right. So in terms of like you, sort of as a person, think the sort of lockdown life's changed you at all? Do you feel like you maybe say appreciate things a little bit more when it will get back to normal or stuff like that, or has it affected sort of your mental health side of things?
I'm definitely more anxious now. Like
I
had a wee bit of social anxiety before, but I'd never really tackled it and like never really thought it was anything. But now I'm like, oh God, like I can't go into the gym on my own at the moment, but I'm going to work towards that. I went to deliver a parcel on Asda one time and it just didn't work out, and I like left. I was like greeting and that. I was like, oh, I can't cope with this. I feel like that's been a downside. But then I like came into contact with like pals again that I hadn't spoken to in ages, and we've got like closer and stuff. So that's been good. And I'm just going to make sure that I'm never in on a weekend ever again.
Quite right. That's
I'm always going to be out, always.
So that's like the social anxiety you're saying. Like, did you have anything like that sort of before COVID, or have you noticed that getting sort of worse?
I definitely did. Like, I've always had a thing where like I won't do something new like without a pal with me. Like, I wouldn't like to even go to like a new fueling station. So like I go to the one in Dunfermline, the Tesco one. I can go to that one. I can go to the Asda, but like see anywhere else, I like don't like to go near it because I'm not used to it. And then like if I had to go somewhere new, like if I had to go into a new shop or something like that, I like to always have someone with me, so like I know what I'm doing, like I know where everything is, because like if I can like control everything, like I know where the toilet is and I know where stuff is, then I feel fine. But the first time I need someone with me to do new stuff.
So is it a new gym that you've joined that you're feeling that way about the gym, or is it just?
Not even. I just got a pure gym, but I've been going for ages. And I went a wee bit when everything opened up. Like I managed to go on my own then, but I think now, especially since it's so busy now, because I've just opened up, I like won't go on my own, especially at night time. Like I could probably go in the morning on my own because I know it's quiet, but I wouldn't go at night time without someone with me.
So is it just think like with that being that many people there that it makes you feel
I think so. Yeah, like there's just so many people there, and it's so many men as well. Like it's just so full of like guys, and I'm like, oh god, it's just so daunting. Like walking in at night, and there being like so many men there, and I'm like, total gives me the fear.
To be fair, all these roid
I
crunchers
know.
just walking about.
I think I feel like that as well sometimes. Like it's when there's nothing free, and you just feel like a spare prick walking about.
I know, and you're standing there. And it's like,
you're like, everybody's watching me be a fucking loser here, not
it's
being able to
so
find one with
horrible.
just pretend to pick stuff up and put it back down again to feel like
I
you're.
know. At least when you're with a pal, you both look like tits together.
You've got somebody to at least bounce after if you do.
Yeah, you can like say something to them and chat to them and stuff.
The one thing that does me is like, when you're like got you in your head, like after you finish with that piece of equipment, you're going to go to this next bit, and you walk towards it and you find that there's somebody on it.
Oh, I know, it's so annoying.
What am I meant to do here? I'll just do a 180 and just go back to what I was doing.
And then you feel so stupid as well, and you're like on your phone or like facing your phone. Oh gosh.
Just pretending to answer it and that. Just
I know. Like you've seen someone. Oh, I'm gonna get them. Oh.
I can kind of get where you're coming from, and the kind of like not going to places that you're not kind of familiar with and stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's more like you're not in control of the situation. I think that's what it kind of sounds as if. Like obviously you need to care where everything is and that. So so say for example you were to go down to say Newcastle on a trip, would you go out shopping in Newcastle on your own, or would you have to go with somebody else in that sort of circumstance?
I don't know. I probably wouldn't. I don't know. If I had to, and if I really was on my own, like I probably could, but I just wouldn't like it. But it's more like, I think if I see people I know as well, I don't like that. I don't want to see people. Like I want to just have like,
just like don't fucking speak to me.
Like I can see someone that I'm such good pals with and just hope that they don't see me because I'm in my zone and I just don't want to be like broken out of what I'm doing. I'm like, oh, just don't speak to me. Don't look at me.
That's quite understandable, to be fair.
I think a lot of folk go through, I think the vast majority of people would be like that, and it's maybe just like how we've grew up, that's maybe like a sort of byproduct to that. And like I've been sort of trying to stop taking my phone like places, like when I'm in like the gym especially. So I've not got that bailout, and like force myself not to have the bailout. So it's so you're like forced to sort of deal with the fucking anxiety that you get when it's not there. I've been leaving it quite a lot recently. I actually feel a wee bit better for it. I feel a wee bit more comfortable without it now.
Yeah.
Before when I used to leave my phone, I felt like I'd fucking left my arm in the house.
that's like me.
I wouldn't be able to do that. Like, you always need a wee go-to if you're.
I know, if you feel awkward.
Aye.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's so hard. I think that's such a big thing with this generation as well. It's like before you go to a restaurant, like, you know, you search it, you know exactly what it is, and you can read the whole menu, like you know what you're going to eat before you even go. Whereas before they just had to like get on with it, but now I like have to plan everything out, and I'm like, right, where's the bathroom? Like, where's this? It just stresses me out.
I think that's quite funny that you mentioned that, because I've always done that. It's like when you've got to search for food places, you look at the menu, you didn't even get the time of day, you didn't even go and sit down, maybe look at the menu then. Like, because that would have been a thing back then. Folk would probably go into a restaurant, sit down, look at the menu, and if there wasn't anything like, they'd probably just get up and go out. But if you do that these days, oh my god, you'd be slated. Or in your head,
just sit and take it.
Just use a bowl of chips.
Yeah, literally. A wee salad or something. Oh gosh. No, I definitely couldn't do that.
It's quite sad that we're on that same position. So, and pretty much, I'd say 99% of people feel like that. So, like, if we're on the same boat, I don't know why we just don't sort of get on with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, everybody feels that way. So if everybody feels that way, then
it's one of the things that, like, it would need to be like a trend. So folk would need to be doing things that folk think are wrong right now, and then would then follow on.
Yeah.
But it's never going to happen.
I don't think it will either.
I'm just going to start going around tables when I go into restaurants now. Like, did you feel anxious about this whole thing? Because I fucking did. And they go, aye, I did as well. And I'm like, let's be pals.
But you're going to start going around restaurants, sitting yourself down, looking at the menu, and be like, sorry, there's nothing here for me.
Aye.
But can you imagine, like, you always think that people are looking at you like, oh, they think that I'm a total tit, but you never look at anyone else and think that they look like a tit, ever. It's like, so why would they think that about me? But like in the gym and that, if someone like turns direction, I'm not like, oh, they're a loser. But I just feel like that's what they think about me. Oh, it's just stressful.
It is very daunting when you're in like an environment such as the gym and you've got all these like strays kicking about judging you.
I know.
I do feel sorry for women especially. Like it's quite daunting for guys going in sometimes. So never mind fucking women going in as well.
I know, you just see like big bulky guys. I'm walking in, I'm like, oh, so anxious.
I genuinely think if I was a lassie, you wouldn't find me anywhere near a gym in this day and age. Not a chance.
I know, I'd love like an all-female gym. I know that's quite a controversial topic, but I feel like I'd just walk in and not bother. I don't know. I think
that would be quite a good thing, actually.
I think that would be a great money-making business. Watch this space in a year's time. I know.
Thing is, you'd always get a snowflake male who'd be like, why isn't it for everyone?
I know, it's like, that's sexist.
And then they'll be like,
well, have an all male gym if you like, on you go, that's fine. I wouldn't bother that wouldn't bother me.
Then all the pairs wouldn't sign up.
Plus, I'm sure that some men walk in and are like totally feel daunted by like women there. Like I'm sure that'll also be a thing.
We spoke about it like, was it 2 weeks ago or something? Just like when you're in the gym and there's a lassie there and you make eye contact but it's quick and you're like, oh my God.
It's so awkward.
They think I've been looking at them. And then that's you, like you actually physically can't even look in that direction for the rest of the...
I had that a couple of weeks. We spoke about it in the last one. I had it a couple of weeks ago where I just caught, and it was actually in the mirror, which made it worse that I caught eye contact where it wasn't even like I was looking at it in person, it was in the mirror. I was like, oh fuck, that was so obvious, man. But I wasn't even actually looking at it, it was just like, I made eye contact.
I feel like the girl feels like it's the opposite way around as well. Like if I did that with a guy, I'd be like, oh, he totally thinks I'm looking at him. So I think it feels the same both ways. But
the thing is, she went to another machine, and I just happened to be walking in the same direction as her, and went to like the machine like right next to her as well. I was like, oh fucking hell, she's gonna think I'm fucking weird, man. But it was so fucking innocent.
Yeah.
The next time it happens, I think I'm just going to keep looking, and when they do catch back, I'm just going to be like, nah, wasn't it?
Last night I think that would make it even worse. See if you're like, by the way, I wasn't looking at you.
Fucking killer, just like
that. Oh no, don't do that. I'd recommend not doing that.
Nah, there's no chance. I'm not even going to look at anybody when I go back into the gym. I'm just going to put a fucking blindfold on.
That's why I've got my phone all the time. I just stare at it like this. I'm like, nobody will see me if I do that.
Might just get a pair of the glasses that's got the eyes on them. So, more about you, Lisa, anyway. Just going back, obviously, I know obviously a little bit about your background, how you can somersault into next week if you wanted to.
I don't anymore.
So, do you want to tell us a bit about that, how you came about getting into gymnastics and stuff like that?
Sure, well, I started, this is going to sound really stupid, but I will explain. So I started when I was like 9 months old. And it's because you have like the preschool classes. I actually coach them now. So it's like, you just have like it's kind of like a soft play where the mums come in with like their baby or whatever. And it's like 9 months to 18 months. And you just get to kind of like play on the equipment. And then I like went into preschool, which is like a wee bit more structured when you're like 3. And you go around and you do like forward rolls and stuff like that. It's really good videos actually to watch when you're older. It's quite a good laugh. And then when I was 4, I was put into a competition club. And then I was there till I was like 11. And then I moved club to a different one. And then I left when I was like 15. And then I did like a different type of gymnastics. It's a very long story. There's lots going on here. But I started gymnastics properly when I was like 4. So it's quite young, but you always start quite young in gymnastics.
Quite right. So do you think, it's quite hard to ask a question when you were 4, because can you remember when you were 4? Because I can't.
No, I remember, it's funny because I actually remember being in preschool, and I remember they had like this little wooden bench and it had like different coloured spots on it, and I remember like walking over the spots. And my brother did gymnastics. He was in Spartans. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's like a club in Dunfermline. So he was in Spartans. I remember thinking like that was what I was going to do. So when I was older and when I was big enough, I was going to be in Spartans. And then I got put into this other club, which was an all-female club. And I remember I used to say to my mum all the time, like, oh, when am I old enough to go to Spartans? Like, when am I old enough? But she was like, oh, like, you don't go to Spartans. Like, that's not what you do. But I remember that. I remember it was really fun at the start. My first competition was when I was like 4, and it was just like an in-club one. It was just a fun one. And my mum and dad actually missed it because they were at a wedding, and I was like competing against 6-year-olds, and I was saying to my mum, I was like, I'm going to win, I'm going to win. And she said, oh, Lisa, no, you're not going to win. Like, get a grip. So she goes away and she's a bridesmaid to this wedding. It's my first ever competition. And my granddad was there and he like filmed it and stuff. And then my mum came and she was like, oh, how'd you get on? I was like, oh yeah, like I won. And she was like, what? Like I won it. I don't ever remember that. I remember I got like a wee plastic trophy. I don't know if I still have it, but that was like the first competition that I ever did. But it was just wee. I don't really remember a lot about being really young there.
Mm. But you must have always had a passion for it if you've done it for all those years after.
Obviously no.
I don't know. I didn't really have a passion for a long time. Like I wanted to do well, and I remember I always said like my dream was to go to the Commonwealth. Like that's what I wanted. I was like, I'm going to go to the Commonwealth. It's going to happen. But then I didn't enjoy it for years because I was in a club that I wasn't happy in, and I wasn't getting treated very well. So I hated it. I used to pretend I was sick all the time, like particularly on like it was like a specific night we went to a different club, and I would always pretend I was sick that day, and like I'd get sent home from school and like not wanting to go. But then when I moved club when I was like 11, that's when like I really got a passion for it. And then especially when I turned like 13, because that's like when you're there by choice at that point, like you're not really getting forced anymore. And that's when I started to like really improve. So that's when I had a passion for it then.
Yeah. So what do you think it was about that club when you were, say, was it 8 to 11 years old?
4 to 11.
4 to 11.
Yeah, so I was in it for a wee while when I was like wee, and then I moved into a different group, and I was in like the big group with like the best gymnasts. It wasn't too big a group, but I just wasn't treated good in there at all.
No. So I take it that's what then took you on to move to the other sort of group that you went to? Yeah,
so there was like a few instances that like pushed it along, but I wasn't happy for years in there. I remember like my whole primary school experience was like kind of ruined by it. Like I loved primary school, and I remember like after lunchtime I was like, oh no, like it's nearly time to go home, and that means I need to go to gym, and I just hated it. So I was in there years. It was probably when I was like 7 to 11 that I hated it, before I then moved club because of that reason.
Mm.
And what was it, the other people that you were there with, or was it like coaches that made it unenjoyable?
It was coaches. It was also one of the girls there as well, but I don't know how much I can really say about them, but she was the daughter of the coaches.
Right.
So there was coaches that were like horrible, and then their daughter was also nasty to me, and she was like in my group as well. But she wasn't really the problem, to be honest. It was more the coaching that was the problem.
So was it like the expectation that was put on you at such a young age, do you feel, that was the killer for you in terms of
Maybe.
gymnastics?
I don't know, but I feel like gymnastics is such a toxic sport in general. Like I saw this thing a wee while ago, and it was one of the English male gymnasts, and it was like when all this Athlete A stuff came out, that was when like all the stuff about the American gymnasts came out, when they were all being like abused by the doctor. Yeah, so everyone was talking about it, and like all the British gymnasts came out and were sharing their experience. So one of the male gymnasts said that he would put his son, like he's not got any kids, he's like, but I've always said like I put my son into gymnastics to toughen him up, but I wouldn't put my girl in gymnastics, like end of. And then he said like, this is not, it's called women's artistic gymnastics, like this isn't women's gymnastics, this is little kids gymnastics. And that's when I was like, oh my god, like it's so true, because you need to start really young in it, and then you've got so much training to do. Like when I was like 10, I was training 24 hours a week, So it's a lot for a kid.
And hell.
And the pressure's enough already, but then when you're also under loads of pressure and then getting bullied by adults, that's when it's quite hard to cope with.
That can't be good for your joints when you get older, can it? If
No,
you're
my
throwing
elbows
yourself
like
out.
bend back and that, like
Oh,
my knees bend back and stuff. I can crack every bone in my body, but
no, I'm just thinking, like, obviously the impact that you're putting on your joints at that young age when you're obviously still developing.
yeah.
Doing all your somersaults and what have you, honestly didn't ken.
Yeah.
Just all these moves that involve you leaving the ground, doing something and come back.
Yeah. Jumping up and then coming back, yeah. Well, both my ankles are buggered, so they're both done in.
I'm not surprised. Because I did, it's funny you mentioned that athlete, and they're all strapped up to the max,
Yeah. Your
like,
wrists, your ankles, everything.
Like the amount of pain to go through to just do that, I just think it's so unnecessary.
Yeah, like the thing is, if you train properly and you're getting coached like a really good way, you should be fine. Unless like something happens and you just get injured. But it's more like the overstretching, like coaches pushing you down into splits. And well, I think about that now. We used to put our foot on like a mat, like probably like this thick, and then you get like pushed down to the floor. And now I'm like, I wonder if my knees would bend backwards if it wasn't for that, because I was still growing. My legs are getting bent the wrong way. So that's probably going to cause me pain when I'm old. Like my knees, I'm probably going to have joint pain in my legs.
No wonder though.
I know.
Like when you think it like that.
I know.
I know, and it's weird because obviously it sounds fucking barbaric, but it's still obviously still a thing. Like, like extremely popular as well. That it's like, I think people, not that I'm a fucking expert, but the gymnasts seem to, like, every time you watch the Olympics or whatever it's on, the girls seem to get younger and younger that are actually competing.
I know. Well, you're not allowed to be like, you can't compete in Commonwealth Games or anything like that until you're senior, and you have to be 16 or 16 that year.
So young.
I know. So you can be 15, but as long as you're 16 at December 31st, if you're 16 then you're allowed to compete whatever time of the year as a senior. But the reason that it's so young for girls is because of the amount of injuries. Like, you get past the age of 16 and you're injured and you can't do it anymore. Like, I gave up gymnastics completely when I was 18 and I'd already had surgery and my ankles were messed up. So it's pretty rough.
It's weird. It's like, obviously at that young age, you're obviously being like, having all this demand and stuff put on you to do all these crazy moves and stuff, like, as you're saying, like overstretching into the splits and stuff. It's like you're being manipulated into this sort of ideal medal winner.
Yeah, well,
like,
that's what it is.
Kim, what springs to mind? Can you find that Stretch Armstrong toy you got as a bairn, and you could just do what you wanted?
It's quite literally like that, yeah.
That's what it's like. It's like, it's fried my head there.
Yeah, it's a lot like.
So obviously when you were 11 and you decided to finally move this club, what would you think was like the final straw for you to like get out and go somewhere else? And what was your kind of feelings at that point in time?
Oh God. Well, I'd hated it for years, like honestly years. I was then coming like towards the end of my primary school. I think it was in the February, I think I left. It was right after the Scottish Championships, and I had a very bad experience at the Scottish Championships. I was just like humiliated in front of everyone by this coach. And that was the final straw, and my mum was beyond livid about this. So she was like, after that competition, she went and had a meeting, and then that's when they were saying that I was leaving. So it was after that day that I left.
So see, throughout your time from the age of 4 to 11, obviously you were hating it. Did you ever say, go to your mum or dad and say, look, I am hating this, can I get out?
Yeah, I used to cry like every single gym session. I think every gym session, and then I'd get sent home probably once a week. So they would get fed up with me for one reason or another, and then they'd send me home. Which I was actually speaking to my friend about this recently, and she was like, that's just such a joke, like your parents are paying for that and they're sending you home. But anyway, so I was crying all the time. But then when my mum and dad had multiple meetings with these people, but they like manipulate them into thinking like, this is just the sport, this is the nature of the sport, which is true to an extent. Like, gymnastics is a tough sport, but they would just say like, that's the nature of the sport, like she's really talented, and it's like, she's going to go places, like she's going to do this, she's going to do that, and it's always like given like such positive things to like what's going on. So they'd leave and be like, yeah, like it's going to get better, we've spoke to them, like it's going to stop, like you're going to get better and all this stuff. And then I'd go back, and I remember after the final meeting of when I was moving, I said to my mum, like when I came out, I just came out and went straight up to her. I was like, is that it? Or like, do I need to go back again? Because she'd have so many meetings where she's like, right, we're going to leave, you're going to move. And then she'd come out and be like, great, we're just going to try again. And that's what would happen all the time. So like, I thought that this was the final straw, but I still had like that doubt in my mind. I thought that I was going to need to go back.
Like, oh, here we go again. Like, it's like he's given either your mum or dad false promises, and you're going to get thrown back into the hellhole that you were obviously in.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I never even thought about leaving because I'd done it my whole life. Like, I'd never known a life without gymnastics before. So like not having that was something that I couldn't really comprehend. Like, not going to gymnastics, it was just my life. It's like not going to school. It's like I don't like school, so I'm just not going to go anymore. Like, that's not how it works, and that's not how I felt it was like for gymnastics, which obviously isn't true.
Yeah,
it was just weird.
So see, in terms of like, obviously when you're competing and stuff, I'm guessing you're up against like different gymnastic clubs throughout the country.
Yeah, so so you've got all your different clubs, and it depends what level you're at. So there's lots of different levels. So it really just depends what you're doing. There's lots of different competitions. Some are like more fun where anyone can compete, and others are like levels or grades, which you have like specific skills to do. And then you just had your kind of bog standard ones. It was always kind of leading to something else. So it's like, if you do really well in this competition, you'll get to go to this competition. That's kind of how it worked. Or you had to pass or something. There was always kind of an end goal, unless it was like a fun competition.
So see, when you were going to these sort of events and you were speaking to the other participants, did you ever like speak to them about your personal experiences to see if there was anybody else on the same wavelength as you in terms
Not
of like?
at all. No, I feel like so many people have went through it. Like, I don't know any, well, I don't think I know anyway, any older gymnasts who like did really well in the sport that haven't had a terrible experience in it. Like, I think everyone I know has had someone that's been horrible, and it's just been so traumatic for them. Like, it's just a really negative sport in general. Like, every gymnast I think has a story, especially if they've done well. All the British gymnasts are coming out, lots of French gymnasts, obviously the American gymnasts, like all these countries are now coming out and talking about how this is so bad. Like, I think China, they take like kids away from their families when they're 3, and the next time they see them, they're at the Olympics. Like, it's a crazy sport. So it's just an all-round really negative sport at the moment. I think it's probably getting a bit better now, but I think you don't realise that it's just really bad. Like, I think when I went to competitions, I was with my coach the whole time. I'd meet friends there, but you wouldn't really speak about gymnastics. Like, you've just competed, you're probably crying. you don't really do anything. You just kind of sit there and wait to go on the next thing. It was never really like sociable at competitions. It was just really stressful.
And what about like other people at the club? Did they have sort of similar experiences to you? Do you know anybody like now that, like, have you kept in contact with anybody? Like,
yeah, I'm in contact with quite a few actually. My friend group at school, actually, there's 6 of us, and 3 of us were at that club, and 3 of us had really bad experiences. And then I know other girls who were at that club that I've been in contact with recently, actually. Just speaking about our experience. One of my best friends, she kind of went through the whole thing with me as a gymnast. She's like 4 years older than me, so she was like my big sister, and she was really good as well. So we would go to squad training together, and we were both in this club, so me and her kind of stuck together, and we went through it together. So we've like always stayed like such good pals because we went through all of that with each other. So I'm still good friends with quite a few of them.
So was it sort of like just like verbal, like degrading, like saying that you weren't good enough, or like what sort of things was it?
It wasn't really saying that I wasn't good enough. It's more saying like you're not trying, and getting to like making us stand on a beam for an hour or whatever until you did like a move that you were so scared to do. Like, I used to stand on a beam and they'd want me to do like a backflip on it, and I just wouldn't do it. Like, I was so scared, and like I didn't have enough training. Obviously, if I had enough training, I would be fine to go up and do it, but you would just be stood there for hours, and like your feet are sweating, you're like wiping, your hands are sweating, you're like wiping it on your legs, and you're not allowed to come off the beam, so I'd like wipe my feet. It's so disgusting, but I'd like wipe my sweaty feet like off my legs and that, and you're just crying the whole time. Someone would walk past you like your friend, and be like, "Are you okay? Like, you can do it," and encouraging that, and then they would get in trouble for speaking to you. There was an occasion when I was on the bar and they wanted me to do like a back somersault off it, and I wasn't going to do it. It was just not happening. I put in a big harness, and I was like, "I'm not doing it." So I got sent home for that. It was just constant. You get told that you're not trying, you're not working, you get shouted at for sitting down, you get shouted at for standing up, you get shouted at for anything, and they're not doing anything either. They're like, coaches are just sitting eating biscuits or something, doing whatever they like, and then you're training and suddenly you're the bad one, and then your whole group would get sent out, you'd get sent home, you get sent into a cupboard to sit on your own. It was just everything. It was constant, like every session.
I don't know. So
see if I came in and my daughter was sitting in a cupboard.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I better elaborate on that. It's not quite a cupboard. It's like a sort of garage thing.
That sounds worse.
Scott's thinking of fucking Matilda.
No, it's not the chokey. No, it was much bigger than that, but you'd have to like sit out one way or another. You'd have to put your kit on.
Even that though, like getting you to say stand on a beam and like do a backflip or you're not coming down, like just waiting for like hours or whatever.
Yeah, like see if someone told you to stand on a beam, which is like thinner than
even stand on a beam.
It's thinner than that, I know, and you're not coming down till you do a flip. You would never do it. You would never get down. Yeah. And that's what it was like, and you just wouldn't do it. And they knew you weren't going to do it, but they just let you stand there and cry for hours.
And the thing at that age is you're completely defenceless. Like, see, as an adult, you'd be like, right, you fucking put your digestive down and you come in there.
I know, exactly. Literally. But you can't do that when you're 9 years old.
No, you can't. You know what I mean? But you're seen as like a fucking brat or something like. But it's like I actually realised, like when I grew up, like some adults are arseholes. Like,
oh yeah, totally.
Like, you always think that adults are right when you're younger, but they're no, because there's arseholes everywhere.
There is arseholes.
I think it's so bad as well, because when you're young, you're told to respect your elders, and it's like you must listen to them. You have to do what you're told. You have to not speak back. So you get that drilled into you. Well, I was a bit cheeky, I must admit, but
I
did get in trouble for that as well. I got told that my legs were bent all the time, and one time, I think it was near when I left, I was like, well, they're the only legs I've got. I got sent home for that.
It's true, right?
I know, it was funny actually, because I got told that all the time, that my legs were always bent. And then when I'd moved to club, I was 14 and I'd competed in the Scottish Championships, and I was second on beam, which is funny because I was always terrible at beam, but I was second on beam in Scotland. And then my coach, like my old coach, was the one that was presenting the medal, like for second place. So I'm like standing on the podium, done the best I've ever done in my whole life. He puts the medal over my neck and tells me my legs were still bent.
No way, man.
Yes. I'm like, oh, nice. Well, I'm on the podium and you're down there, so.
Let's get him on, we'll roast him.
Aye.
Oh, God. I know, I better be careful. I don't want to get in trouble for it.
It's all right, just don't name any names. I'm sure folk who maybe know you're talking about. That's the only thing, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, fine.
We're on the big time.
We're not big time yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Honestly, I can't wait for the fame to happen.
Never. Never going to happen.
I think it will. I think this is going to take off.
Too soon.
No, but honestly, see, listening to that story there about obviously like the beam, you've got the cupboard and that, it actually genuinely sounds like you're on a fucking episode of SAS, Who Dares Wins, eh?
It's just mental.
It's like army camp training.
Yeah, it is like that. And a lot of the time you had to go through, like, I trained in Largs quite a lot with squad training. We did that like once a month, and you'd like stay through there. It was like camp, so you'd stay like 2 nights through there, and it was like 6-hour days that you were training. And we had this Bulgarian coach. I actually really like her now, but she was so scary when I was wee, and she had like this accent and I could never understand her. And there was like a time we were running around the floor and we were like kicking our legs in front of us. It's actual mental. You should see the kind of drill stuff that gymnasts do. It's crazy. But we had to like kick our legs like straight in front of us, and she was going like legs, 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 but saying it like this accent. And I thought she said flex. So I started flexing my feet. Oh God, she went through me. It's terrible. It's so bad. I'll always remember it. But I really like her now. We're friends on Facebook. She always comments on my makeup stuff and that. Like, she's a good laugh, but oh, she was so scary.
You find that with like folk with an accent like that, because obviously they don't know how to put words into a sentence. It breaks it up a bit to make it sound more chill. So it's like, it's fucking this.
I know, when you're standing there and you're like totally scared. Oh, it's so funny. She was so flexible as well. Like, I remember she could like do the splits so well, and she was like 60, and I was like,
fucking
I
hell.
can't do that.
Did she work in Benidorm?
Oh, actually, she was the choreographer. Have you been to Magaloo?
Aye.
She's a choreographer of Pirates, yeah.
Oh, is she? That's fucking brilliant, by the way.
I know, it's good, eh? After I went to Magaluf, I was like, I'm joining. See you later.
That is tremendous. It's like the darts,
join the
but you've got
circus.
Gymnasts just fucking doing random shit on their stage instead of coming to playing darts. It's
it was
amazing.
really fun. It was so good.
We'll go to Magaluf.
Go, it's great.
What was I going to say there? Aye, what strikes it like the most to me is, because obviously gymnastics is a sport. Obviously we've got football as a sport, rugby is a sport. Like, all of these to me are like hobbies. So folk would go if they wanted to go and they enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would never play football unless I enjoyed it. Like, nobody wouldn't force you to play football.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So why is it different with gymnastics?
I think I was quite good. I'm not meaning to toot my own horn or that. Like, I was pretty good at it. And then I was just training
to be fair.
Yeah, like I was training all the time, and it just wasn't quite that simple. I don't know, like I remember speaking to my mum about it when I was wee, and I was like, Mum, would you rather I gave up school or I gave up gymnastics? And she said she'd rather me give up school. Like that's how like big it is, and especially when you're good at it, it's like you're kind of like, nobody's good at gymnastics, but like my daughter's good at gymnastics, so we're going to pursue it and we're going to do it. And I'm so glad I did it. Like, I've got a job out of it now. If it wasn't for gymnastics, I wouldn't have been paid full pay this whole lockdown. Like, it's all led up to where I am now. Like, I don't know what I would be without it, but it was just so dramatic.
So see, in terms of being like, say for example, it's been a long day. Say for example, I was like, say the Scottish champion in gymnastics, like, where does the money come from? Is it just purely sponsorship, or
what money? There's no money.
There's no money in it at all?
None. Literally nothing.
Just when you're saying like,
sport, eh?
but that's what I mean, like, so when you're like, obviously when you've got your parents saying, would you rather give up school or gymnastics, and they'd rather you give up school, like, don't get me wrong, it's great to be maybe the greatest gymnast in the world.
Yeah.
Where's the mortgage and that coming from? That's where I'm
I know. I think my mum just loved it. Like, I think she loved the sport, and she never got a chance to it when she was young. Like, she grew up with not much money, and she was like, I think she was like, I just love to do this. Like, I would have loved to have the chance to do that. And now you've got the chance to do it, and you're good at it. And I think she always wanted the best for me. She was always like the main person in my team, like egging me on, and she was great. Like, don't get me wrong, she just loved it. I think she was so like hypnotized by it, but she was getting manipulated as well. Like, I can't just say that she knew exactly what was going on. Like, yeah, I would come in and tell her that I was crying and this is what happened, but sometimes I'd get a lift home from my coaches. So before I could get out of the car crying, she would go to the door and tell my mum what happened and manipulate the whole situation. So if someone gives you their word first and then hear someone else's story, it's a bit like, oh, but I heard that one first, so I kind of believe that one. It was a bit like that. And who's going to believe a child over an adult? And at the end of the
that's
day,
what it comes down to,
yeah.
Like, especially because, like, as a child, you don't know what's best for you the vast majority of the time. And like, everything I went to, I fucking cried. Like, it doesn't matter what my
boys always cry at everything. I swear.
It doesn't matter what my mum left me, I fucking cried. And I'm sure loads of the stuff would have actually done me good. Like, she tried to take me to Taekwondo, and I just fucking cried the whole time until I got fucking 10 home. And the other martial arts. So, like, if I'd actually stuck at it and done it, then I'm sure it'd have fucking benefited me.
Yeah.
But I think, like, with like not taking a child's word for it, like, I think adults normally think, I know what's best. And I know that it's what you're doing is difficult. and you can't just give up when things get difficult. But there's surely a line, like doing difficult things is good for you, and then there's got to be a line where like this is actually fucking, as you described, fucking traumatic.
Yeah, well, luckily there was a line, and by the time it was crossed, I was moved out of there, and then I had the best experience. That's why I have such a weird relationship with gymnastics. Like sometimes I think that I miss it and I want to go back, and I'd love to have another day where I could go and train, like go back in time. Then other days I think like I can't wait till the time that I don't ever need to hear about gymnastics ever again. Like it's so strange because I had such a good experience after, but it doesn't like take away all of the feelings I had with it before.
So see if so obviously we'll compare from 4 to 11 years old, and then from 11 to, was it 18 you gave it up?
Yeah, well, I moved when I was like 16. I did like a different type of gymnastics after.
So we'll just compare the bad with the good. Like, what was so different the second time round that maybe gave you that passion?
Well, I remember like right before I left the first club, it was at the Scottish Champs. Right after that, like at that competition, I was told I was an embarrassment in front of all the gymnasts and coaches and in front of parents that were walking past. It was that bad, actually. I was getting like totally screamed at in front of folk that two people, like two adults that didn't even know me, went up to my mum and told her like what had happened. And then, so after getting like degraded forever, I'd never been told that anything that I did was good. Like I was never rewarded ever. And then I moved club, and the first day I started, my coach, he was so lovely. He's a lot older than my other coaches, and I came in and I'd been training for probably about half an hour, and he sat me down, and then I was like a trial. He was like trialing me to see if I would enjoy it and stuff. So I sat down and he was like, you know, I think you're great. And that's the exact words he said. I've always remembered it. And I was 11, and that was something that just stuck with me. And it was just positive. Like when you did well, you'd be congratulated, and they'd film it and they'd put it on Facebook, and you'd be like, oh, well done, Lisa, for doing this new skill. Like it was just a totally different experience. Parents were encouraged to come and watch. Well, not really the training, but we'd have a competition at Christmas every year. It was like called the Christmas competition, and we all dressed up as like some Santa themed thing, and you got to like make your outfit and that, and then the parents would watch. It was like a wee fun competition. It was just, the environment was so different. It was like a different sport. Obviously it was still really tough, and there were some days I'd cry like if I was scared to do something, or if I'd hurt myself or stuff like that. It's still a really hard sport, but I just totally got rid of all the negative side of it, like all the bullying, and it was just completely different.
It's good though that you actually managed to finally get to a point where you could get the enjoyment out of it, something that you'd done for so many years.
I know,
like, what's that, 4 to 11, 7 years. Like that's your childhood. But then to carry that on into like being like an adolescent, and then obviously now you're making a career and stuff out of it. Like that's probably been the turning point for you, is getting that voice saying you're actually great.
Yeah.
So it's changed your whole outlook. Like obviously, as you say, you didn't forget about what's happened in the past.
Yeah.
But the fact that you've had this good experience with it just maybe shows you that there's a bit of hope in there, that athletics isn't fucking as traumatic as it sounds like, or as it's been broadcasted on Netflix and stuff on that Athlete.
I just hope that it changes, like that they change stuff now, but still the organisations just don't care as much as they try and make out that they care. Like you're on safeguarding courses all the time, but then when it comes down to it and someone's reported, they don't do anything about it. So and there needs to be a massive change for it to actually get any better, I think.
I just feel like the people in charge need to be good people. Like I know if it was me personally, I don't know fucking anything about gymnastics, but I know if I had a child aged between 4 and 11 sitting on this beam in front of me and I was telling them to do something, and as soon as I seen that they'd maybe start to cry, that's where I'd stop. You know what I mean? You can't have somebody saying like sitting up there great and then constantly like pounding on top of that and all. That's just, it's a bit inhumane. Inhumane. Like from a personal point of view, I just didn't see how somebody could do that, regardless if it's for the good of the sport, and I mean this is what we need to do to get the best at. Like, didn't give me a lot of fucking bollocks. So.
And that's maybe the thing though. Like it's maybe that, like obviously the only money is at the very, very top of the sport, and it's like only like lottery funding. So it's only like the fucking best of the best to get. What is lottery funding? Like fucking 25k a year or something, if that.
Don't know.
Like,
I have no idea.
and the only way they're going to get that funding is if people are successful. So I think that like it breeds that negativity throughout the whole sport. Not again, not that I'm a fucking expert. I'm just like for what I've read and what I've seen, like the reports of like the abuse and that people are coming out with. That like it's bred through the whole sport rather than just like obviously you get your good clubs which you experienced, but I think even at the like Olympic level, I think the abuse that they get is horrendous.
It's like the coaches at the British squads and that, one of them has been suspended for ages now. She's been under investigation for so long. I don't even know much about the money that's in gymnastics. Like, I don't even know what benefits you get when you get up to the top. Like, obviously, I was never going to get to the Olympics, but my friends went to the Commonwealth Games and got nothing for it. Like, nothing at all.
That's what I'm struggling to understand, right? So see when, like, I'll use football as an example. Like, if you are forced to do something at football constantly, you can kind of see why, because if you were to get to your top of your career at football, you'd be a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
Whereas gymnasts, you'd be lucky to, I don't know, as you say, there's no money in it. So
I don't even know. I don't know.
I don't know what you get.
It genuinely is lottery funded, and I'm not sure. Like, I don't know a lot about it, but I think it's like a flat sort of salary that every Olympic athlete gets to help them train full time. So if you're like make an Olympic squad, you get say 25 grand a year, so you don't have to work to train full. So it's only the Olympic level where you would get any sort of funding, I think, and that's for the majority of sports in the Olympics because they're amateur.
So I feel like if they were to change it from amateur to professional, then it would change.
I don't even know. I have no idea.
Neither do I. I don't know. Like, I don't know what sort of money there would be in it if it wasn't for
sponsorship.
I'm guessing your top athletes will get some form of fucking sponsorship, but I'm guessing that'll be like outside the athletics rather than anything to do with
I remember like some events have sponsors and that. That was good about UK School Games. When I went to UK School Games, you got loads of free kit and stuff because it was sponsored by Sainsbury's. So we got loads of free stuff. But then all of my stuff that says Scotland on the back, it's got Sainsbury's up the top. Don't want that. We're wearing a top that says Sainsbury's in big writing.
You're walking advert.
I know, literally. They gave us such random stuff. We got like a toothbrush, sun cream, a beach ball. I was like, why have I got a beach ball out of this? But it was great. I loved the freebies. That was fun.
You can't knock a freebie. It's always better when it's free, yeah.
It is. It's great.
Sound like such a tight wee bastard. I do genuinely like when you go to like marketplaces and you go to the stalls and they're like, oh, here, take a keyring. I'm like, I fucking love you. It's a ball opener or not. I've still got it about 20 years later.
I know, it's great. Love the freebies.
So, referencing sort of your gymnastic career to your sort of social anxiety problems now, do you think it's branched at that time at the Scottish Championships you were humiliated in front of all these people?
Probably. I mean, I always say to folk, like, I don't know how I would be without it. Like, I don't know. I could still be the exact same and have like a wee bit social anxiety. Like, it's not mental anxiety, but like, I don't know if I would have that anyway, even if I wasn't a gymnast. But I think like, see if I go to, I used to be a coach for like competitive gymnastics. I don't do that anymore, but when I had to take them to competitions at Perth, that's where like the Scottish champs and that, where like I wouldn't like going in the building, like my heart would start like racing just because like I remember being there. And like any arenas that have like a built up podium, like I don't like that. So me and my friend always go and watch the British Gymnastics, like the championships every year. And we went and I was sitting there and I was like, oh my God, like I'm so anxious, like just cause it reminded me of like competing. Like any building like just gives me total anxiety when it's like linked to gymnastics.
So see when you were actually attending them as like the coach taking the bairns or whatever to compete, would that club that you were part of be there as well? Is that why you're maybe anxious?
Yeah, they were actually running it, so...
Ah, fuck me, there we go.
Yeah. So I don't know how much I can say about that either, but that was another time that I was humiliated in front of lots of people. I was a coach for a different club. So it was still going on when I was like 17, I think I did that, one of those competitions there.
I'm going to take a stab in the dark here and say that nobody for your team won.
Aye.
There you go. It's not going to be rocket science. That's just the way things go. Especially when you're turning to a football team and fucking one of the Bairns, his dad's a coach. Son can't kick his ass, but he's the starting fucking 11. So it happens. It's not just athletics that happens. It happens everywhere else. Aye, that one. Aye. Is that part of athletics? No.
No, really not.
No. Ah, well. So like
not
diving.
At all.
What's diving in?
What's diving? Diving's diving.
Is it? I thought these were all grouped. Sorry.
No. Not at all.
So good at this.
Athletics is fucking track and field.
Aye. Right.
Gymnastics.
To be fair, I did say athletics as well. But I did correct myself.
That's where I was going.
You
started it.
You did. Athletics is lottery funded and that. I was like, why is he talking about athletics here?
I meant athletics. To be fair, I did say that.
Get it up, yeah. Watch it back. This is a recorded, son.
Shit, so I bet you say athletics first. You said it right at the start and it got in my head.
We'll put a wager on.
Right. Tenner.
Right. Sorry. So there's like, I can totally understand why you're obviously feeling anxious, especially if you've got the people that you've had issues with in your younger years running that, because you know they're going to be there.
Yeah.
It's like going to a party that you ken your ex is there.
Yeah.
You didn't really want to bump into them.
I know. I remember my old coach used to judge me as well, like after I'd moved. So I'd be like presenting to her on the beam. She's like scoring me.
Fucking hell.
Oh God.
Were you never tempted to just give a little middle finger mid-somersault?
Give it the knees.
Mid-flip boof.
I'll just do a really good routine and then that'll do.
Aye,
I do a really good routine.
I suppose that's probably a better way to fucking it's probably a better way to channel your energy rather than
I know. Do it with my legs or something. Make it like
just fucking knock them
make
out.
it discreet. Oh, sorry, I fell off.
Oh Christ. So in terms of like, obviously talked about having social anxiety and stuff, and then we spoke about you going on Beauty Bay's Instagram. Did you have anxiety? I'm guessing I would have had fucking anxiety after that.
Yeah, I definitely did, but I wasn't like, it was more nerves. I wouldn't say it was anxiety. Like social anxiety for me is more like going out where like, obviously people can see me on like Beauty Bay, but like I've controlled this whole situation. So I was like, if I like my backdrop, like you don't really see white behind me. I put like a light, like a blue light on behind me, had my makeup there, the camera there. Like I could control like all of that. So that was okay. I was really nervous, but when I started it, like it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a wee bit nerve-wracking before.
You tend to feel the things are like out of body experiences, like when you get in the middle of it, you like doing a job interview.
Yeah.
Like you come out and you're like, I can't even remember what I fucking said there.
I had a job interview this morning. I can't mind anything.
So see what I mean? Fucking out of body experiences. But as you say, I think that's like natural to have nerves. Something like that.
Yeah, that was all right. I feel like everything online that I can like control, I normally find okay. Like I struggle with the classes at my work now because all like the mums and dads have to like be in the classes with the kids, and I find that quite difficult. And then this woman I work with, like, oh, but you go and you make YouTube videos for loads of people and you do stuff on Instagram for loads of people. I'm like, yeah, but they're just like looking on a phone. It's different than being in person when I like can muck it up right away.
But I think that sums like how we are like as a generation.
Oh yeah.
It pretty much sums it up. That like talking to people gives us the fear, but like millions of people on YouTube doesn't like us like millions of views on YouTube. Fucking not a fucking problem. It's
strange, isn't it?
I know. It's actually something I've really been trying to fucking focus on and get better at. Is like actually
making an ass of yourself on camera.
No, I'm talking to people. making an ass of myself in person, which is fucking worse.
I've just accepted it. I'm addicted to my phone. It's fine.
I've deleted all the social media and that, like, but I'm addicted to my phone still. Even if it's
I am. What do you do without social media? Like, what do you do on it?
No,
that's Insta.
That's the thing though. Like, you literally just do something else. Fuck's sake.
Just everything except Twitter.
Aye, pretty much.
That counts.
I delete it sort of like periodically until I get rid of the habit of just going on it for the sake of going on it. And then once that's broken, I'm alright to sort of go back on. It takes like a week for me to, like, rather than just, like, sometimes I just pick up my phone, not actually look at it and just go on Instagram for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
And like, I could really be doing something a wee bit more fucking productive.
To be fair, I do a lot of like work on my phone. I find that I'm probably doing work on my phone more than I'm doing like just scrolling, probably. But then I kind of like all my scrolling, I just pretend it's work. Like I'm going for TikTok, and I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for ideas of like TikToks I can do. But really, I'm just like watching these funny videos that I'm never gonna do. I don't know.
I love TikTok. Yeah, I think it's.
It's all just research.
That's what market research. What do people want to see?
Yeah.
TikTok's the worst at the lot.
I love it. I fucking love it.
It's all right.
It's so bad for you. It's so bad.
You go on it, and 4 hours later, you're just like, oh fuck, I was meant to walk the dog or something.
Have you had a look at like your screen time for like throughout the day?
No.
You should have a look. It'll be in your settings somewhere.
Oh, you don't want to see mine?
I bet it gives you a fright.
Sorry, I'm not. I'm just that. So this is an experiment. Where is it?
I'm guessing it'll be in your settings somewhere.
I don't know where it is.
General.
Is it not on display? I think screen time. Oh, it's right on the thing. Oh, I've turned off my screen time. That's how traumatized I am.
Oh no!
I've turned it off. I don't want to know.
You should turn it on and give yourself a fright.
No, I can't.
I don't know. Where did you find it?
I'm sitting sweating here, man.
It was right near the top.
On an iPhone.
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake, mate! It's still not.
That's not too bad.
2 hours 53 minutes.
No, 3 hours 14. It just went up.
Oh, that's decent.
That's all right. I was expecting it to be a lot worse than that.
I'm a busy boy.
Mine will be probably higher than that.
Yeah, that's good.
No, I'm going to look like a fucking dick now because I've just been. You can still do it.
Yeah, yours is going to be even higher.
How's it embarrassing? What's this? Mine will be like fucking.
Put yours together. Mine would be more.
Mine will be like fucking 9 hours or something.
This is all relatable here. We're talking about.
This is an experiment.
Life. Display. No.
It's right at the top.
He's got a fucking Android there.
Oh.
the shy man.
Come on.
Digital well-being, maybe.
Digital well-being. No, that's parent mode.
And we'll do it after.
Aye.
But
I'm so curious now.
I know. I'll be
what
bad
was
as well.
yours, curiosity?
Oh, mine's just turned off.
Can you not look at it though?
Probably turn it back on.
This is so exciting.
This is my iPhone, right? Oh, 0 minutes.
Right bag.
That's about. Hopefully it goes up.
It says 0 minutes. I turned it back off. I don't want to know.
You must have been able to do it on this.
I don't know if it'll show me like my all activity from like ages ago. I'm going to go back. I've had it off a long time though. No, I don't think it's going to let me.
Raging.
Oh, I'm not raging. Really, I'm not.
Either way, TikTok is bad. TikTok is fucking. I don't think it's good.
That's purely TikTok. I didn't go on my phone apart for that.
See, I don't feel like I'm on TikTok that much. I've kind of not caught the bug for it. I don't think.
That's a very good time.
I'm on Twitter more, if I'm honest.
My favourite. I got the bug for TikTok when that Weekend song came out and everybody was doing that dance.
Oh, I hate that.
Amazing. It was when the old boy was doing it. And he's just sitting at his desk and like, Dad, you can do it. And he's like, fucking right, I can. And they go out to the garage and it's like, bang. I'm like, yes. Go on, lad. Tremendous, man. I love it. Right, we've went totally off topic here.
I think it was on topic, sorry.
Was it?
Mental health.
To be fair.
How mental health is bad, burn it.
Aye, if we could.
Mm-hmm.
Aye, it's
So, like, obviously, you've got a fairly big following on social media in regards to your makeup and stuff. You had any experiences with like arseholes or that?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah,
it's so funny. Yeah, all the time. It's so funny because it's always like that comments something, it's like, ooh, they'll comment, or like 1 out of 10. And then you go on his page, and it's like family is everything, and it's like him and his like wife and children. I'm like, oh god, man, you get stuff like that all the time. I had a girl, I'm really petty, right? And this girl commented on my Instagram. She's like, oh, those brows though, and put like a being sick face. So I just like went on her page and commented the same thing. So I went and commented the same thing on her photo. She blocked me. I'm like, don't if you can't take it. Like, I literally said the same thing to you. I technically wasn't even insulting her. I was just doing it back, and I got blocked. So,
okay.
But you get it quite often.
Folk are such losers, man. Imagine doing that.
I just didn't care how folk can genuinely go out their day and say something negative to something, especially typing it. Like, even saying it's alright because it doesn't take that much energy, but actually physically having to fucking type something in, like, and then having to find that being sick emoji. I know. That's at least 30 seconds worth.
I know, you have to go to the search bar and write sick to find it. I'm like,
that's probably our most used though. She probably does that in about 20 accounts a day, so it's right at the top.
She'll never comment anything nice on anyone's stuff, that's for sure. It's just weird. I get quite a lot though. I got actually a girl I know. Hope she doesn't listen to this. That'd be quite embarrassing. But I did like an ad for Facetune Video. It's like a new app that Facetune's done, and they basically emailed me and they were like, right, we want you to show like your followers how this app works. So I took a video myself, and then I was showing like how to edit it on this thing. And this girl that I know, but she doesn't actually follow me, like messaged me saying that I'm fake and stuff like this, saying that what I was doing was false. And I was like,
gonna have a fucking breakdown, yeah.
I was like, you don't even follow me. Like, why are you messaging me about this? And she was like, I just don't understand why you did that. I was like, well, not being funny, but it says ads at the top. Like, you know why I did that. I'm like, oh, people
I hope she listens to this so she hears what an arsehole she is.
I just thought it was hilarious.
Honestly, man.
And then a couple of weeks later, well, it was like probably 3 weeks ago now, I went out to PJ's and she was like sitting there, and I was like, oh god, there she is.
So she's a local lass.
I know. And she was like, oh well, like I was like, how did you see it? You don't follow me. And she was like, oh well, it was like sent into my group chat, like it's not just me that thinks it. And I was like, oh your group chat's giving me engagement, can't wait.
Okay, mate.
You should have chucked a venom rune about her, man. That's not coming out anytime soon.
But not being funny, but like it's my job. Like I get paid to do stuff on social media. Like,
and fair enough,
if I get the opportunity, I'm going to take it. And it's something like I was just showing how to use the app. I wasn't like promoting unhealthy standards and that. Like I smoothed my skin and turned up the colour a bit. It was not that big a deal in my opinion.
Who hasn't it?
I know. I did like shrink my nose and give myself a waist like that. Like I'd understand why people would be annoyed at that. But that's not what happened.
Pure wavy laminate flooring and that to match your
yeah, exactly.
And like fair enough, if you want to put in the group chat, put in the group chat. Like,
but don't tell me you've done it.
Just talk behind people's back. It's nicer.
Oh, I know. I don't need to know what you think about me. I know. Oh, it was so funny. I couldn't believe how embarrassed.
My tits in, man.
I was actually embarrassed for her, and then I tweeted about her, of course, because I'm so petty. I know. That's where I go wrong. But I was like, oh, people like messaging you about stuff they don't know about and stuff like that. And then she messaged me again, and she was like, oh, congratulations on 4 likes on the tweet.
No way.
I was like, what? I was like, you're actually stalking me. Like, you're stalking me. And she's like, well, it was obviously said to me. I'm like, all right, yeah.
I just think, again, it's the jealousy.
I know. Well, that's what it like said.
The majority of these negative comments and that is they can see somebody doing all right for themselves. It's similar to that hate that Kaz Milligan didn't get wrong. Some of it he fucking right deserves. But the majority.
That's the reason he's got so big, though. Like the reason he's got big is because people are sharing it, being like, "What a fucking douchebag!" And now he's got so many followers. Like those people have like put money in his bank at the end of the day.
I get.
So fine. I just
fucking can't get some of the stuff he's coming out with. But didn't get me wrong. A lot of the comments are totally unnecessary. And all it is it's just spiteful. That's purely what it comes down to. And it's similar to your situation there. Like it's totally unnecessary, and they're just a wee bit jealous that you're in maybe a better position than themselves.
I need to learn to not reply though. I just need to block them when it happens. I'm so petty though.
I think with his though, I don't think his are helpful to anybody. Like no. I don't like how he goes about it, man.
I think he's kind of like stepped into the role of like him being hated.
This whole like pretending to be loaded, which he quite clearly isn't.
Yeah.
Like obvious, it's so obvious, and yet like shows off all these clays that. Obviously, I don't know his financial position, but it's just it's not healthy for anybody because it just makes people. It makes me fucking raging.
I just feel like
he'll get a lot of those clothes for free, probably as well.
Aye.
Like I'm sure brands will send him clothes.
The main thing for me is when he went through that Starbucks and handed the lassie an iPhone. Like, imagine
I don't watch it. I've never seen his stuff.
No, it was one of the things that was just like trending because everybody was taking the piss out of it.
Yeah.
I was like, but what if she already had a better iPhone than what you're handing her? That's patronising.
What a weird thing to do.
He actually just drove through. I didn't even care if he bought anything. And he's just like, here's an iPhone. And she was like, are you serious? He's like, aye. And then she drives away like, what the fuck are you getting out of that? And he's like, oh, but if I do that, then hopefully at least one of the however many thousand else that's watching this is going to do that. I'm like, mate, not a fucking single person is going to do that.
No.
If you video yourself, try to do good things, it's instantly...
It's instantly fake.
The homeless one does nothing.
Oh, yeah.
See, if you want to just buy a homeless guy food, go and just do it and no video yourself doing it and put it on Facebook.
I buy the homeless boy, the homeless boy, the one that sits at the parking bit up the tune. A fucking, what's it?
I don't know.
Gingerbread man, a cup of tea every time, just so I can get change for the parking because I didn't carry money.
At least you didn't spend it. At least you spend it on him instead of.
That's what I mean. I'm spending more money than I'm getting.
Aye. A wee bit of dark here. We went dark.
We have went a wee bit dark.
I better fucking.
Yeah, it's alright though. I think it's.
Is that too bright?
That's the bad thing about a window. You need a ring light. You need to get a ring light.
I'll just sit in the dark.
That's what we'll need to get.
Yeah, they're great.
Hopefully we're going to get to the stage where we're all sitting together and we've got a conversation actually being recorded by a decent camera that isn't for the fucking 60s, although that's brand new. It's just a laptop, can't handle it. So I feel like we've kind of got to the point, Lisa, where it's kind of your chance to give out that bit of advice that you want anybody who's listening to hear.
I think I've been thinking about this. I've been ready for this part. I'd say write down every achievement that you get. Anything, like even if it's small, you need to write it down because you forget everything good that you've done and you feel like you're never progressing. So if you write down everything you do that's good, that's my advice.
That's a good one. Aye, that's very good.
I like that. That's
really back on it.
Very outside the box as well. Like a lot of folk are just like, just follow your dreams. Like, aye, but that is outside the box.
Yeah.
By the way, that is not slating anybody else.
It said follow your dreams.
I know we can't help. This is such a fucking touchy thing we're doing here because we slate folk on this, and we're supposed to be a mental health thing. You
can slate me if you like when I'm away.
I would do it behind your back though. No, I wouldn't message you and tell you when
just put it in your group chat.
Aye, we'll put in a group chat.
That's exactly.
Just don't send me the screenshots of it.
She done that too, surely not.
No, she never.
Oh, right, I was going to say.
Would it even surprise you, man? I don't think so.
No, I wouldn't. Oh gosh.
But no, thanks very much for your time, Lisa. It was a pleasure.
Thanks for your time as well.
It's been a while since I spoke to you anyway, but I'm glad that you're doing well for yourself and you're obviously back at work.
Oh, great. Love it.
But hopefully we'll catch up shortly. And
yeah, defo.
Fuck me. Like, this is what I'm going to have to speak here before I actually end this. Because it's Zoom, every time it's like we're ending the conversation, so which will be the recording that gets released, it's like it's a phone call. So it's like, bye, and then that's it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do that, right? So I'm just going to press stop recording, and then that'll be it. So thanks very much.
Okay.